myself through the ground like Alice. Oh, what a sound. This must be a nest. I got rocks and sticks against my chest. I'm
Hello everyone, I hope you're well. I am so excited to finally do this video. I've had this idea for so long to do a Rosemary and Thyme book tag, and I finally have got all the questions together. So Rosemary and Thyme was a TV series, if you don't know, in England. It ran from 2003 to 2007. There were only ever 3 series and only 22 episodes. And I have watched those 22 episodes over and over again. It was a murder mystery. So it was, in the first episode, these 2 women meet and they form a gardening team, and so they get called out to different locations in England and abroad, and they just do the gardens. But whilst they're gardening, they will come across a dead body, and then they will solve the crime before the police solve the crime. One called the Tree of Death, where at the beginning Laura goes, "This is the Tree of Death.
Oh, let's start the, start the garden, start the job.
Oh my god, someone's got a bow and an arrow in their back. The Tree of Death did it."
Very over the top, theatrical. I just adore it so much. So I thought I would put together questions that are related to the series and 2 books. So I'm just going to get straight into it. So question 1 is Laura Time. Now the series it's Laura Time and Rosemary Boxer are our 2 main characters. So Laura Time used to be a police officer. So name a book that is something to do with the police in it. I have 2 book choices. I have Jodie Picoult, The 10th Circle. This is about a girl gets attacked and it's told from the side of her dad. Something happened to her at a party, and throughout the book we're finding out what happened to her, and the police are involved and they're investigating it. And her dad, his job is he does this comic book series, and in the comic book series the dad is rescuing his daughter from the 7 circles of hell. So at the beginning of each chapter there is the comic book in it of this dad trying to rescue his daughter, and then in the book this dad is trying to rescue the daughter, trying to go through the layers in the police investigation, what happened to her, and then try and get out of her what happened to her. Really moving, very sad, beautiful book, The 10th Circle, and it does have the police investigation and things that the girl tells the police that she doesn't really want to tell her dad, and things are uncovered. Fantastic book. Then is this one. This is fiction, but it's actually based on a true story. It's based on Amanda Knox, Amanda Knox went to prison in real life for murdering Meredith Kircher, who was an English student studying in Italy, and Amanda Knox was a wealthy American student studying in Italy. They were roommates, and Meredith ended up dead, and Amanda went to prison for her murder and then was released, and it was found that she hadn't done the murder and someone else went to prison for it, even though a lot of people still believe that Amanda Knox is the murderer. Well, this book is told from the point of view of a character like Amanda Knox. So all the weird things that Amanda did, like she did a cartwheel in her cell, and she didn't really, when the murder happened, she was just snogging her boyfriend, having a good time, didn't seem to care about her roommate. This is all in this book, and the relationship between Amanda and her boyfriend, because her boyfriend also went to prison. It's based all around that, and then it's left up to you. Do you think she did it or not? But this is just looking at Amanda, not the wider investigation. Really, really interesting book. Cartwheel, Jennifer Dubas, I don't know if I said that, but really, really great book. Question number 2. Rosemary Boxer used to be a university lecturer. Name a book that has something to do with university in it. So I have chosen Mohsin Hamid's The Reluctant Fundamentalist. And this book begins, and this man walks into a cafe, and this man says, "Oh, sit down, you're American, you're here in India, let me tell you a story, because I went to America and America changed my life." And you know now he's not living in America, so then it goes back to what happened to him, and it is so interesting the way it's written. It's just such a conversation when it's in the present day. "Hello sir, don't be alarmed by me, take a seat." That's how it's written, directly to you, and then you are this American tourist. And it goes back, and the man tells his life and says, "I went to university in America and this is what happened to me. And the only reason I went to America was for education, for university, and this is how it affected me and my life." stunning book. Stunningly written, stunningly tragic, the whole thing. Beautiful book. Question number 3. The TV series is a murder mystery TV series. So name your favourite murder mystery book. Mine is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. I just love and adore it. Every time I read it, I just love it even more. So this is a Hercule Poirot one, and Poirot is on a train with a load of strangers, and a murder takes place on the train, and then the train gets stuck in snow. And so there are no police that can come on board or detectives that can come to help out. So Poirot questions everyone individually and tries to work out who has killed this man on the train. How could this possibly have happened? Such a good book. I love the end of the book and everything. There's a real sadness to the end of it as well. Stunning. And the story, like, because there's a story within a story, there's the murder, but then something happened years before, as often in Agatha Christie books. He'll find out a tale of something years before, and you have to work out, does that affect this story now, or is it just a weird coincidence, as sometimes it is, to kind of throw you off the scent she puts in other stories. Fascinating. Loved this book. Could read it over and over again. Absolutely adore it. Question number 4. As they are both gardeners and the series centres around them going to various different gardens, name a book that has something to do with a garden. So the most obvious one is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. It's about a girl who goes to live with her reclusive uncle, and the horrible woman runs the house, and then she finds a secret garden and this lovely boy called Robin, and they decide to bring the garden to life. And she finds out that her uncle's wife, who tragically died, it was her garden and she had it beautifully, and it's been locked away and gone into complete ruin because he can't even bear to look at it, and he's in this deep depression. And by bringing the garden to life, she brings him back to life and his son who lives in the house. Stunning book. Really enjoyed it. The girl is a brat, I will say that. She's no Sarah Crewe from A Little Princess, I will say that, but stunning. I then have 2 other books that are also around childhood. So I have Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery. This is about a girl who's an orphan, and a brother and sister who run a farm want to have an orphan so the orphan can work with them and live with them on their farm. And they think they're getting a little boy, and then this little girl Anne arrives, and they decide that they absolutely love her. Everyone in the town falls in love with her, and they take her in, and it's a series. But the countryside, the town, the landscape, I absolutely love, and the changing seasons, how the trees are described, everything so beautiful. I then have a more modern book, and this is Raspberries on the Yancey. It's by Karen Wallace, and this is about children playing. That's the whole book, but it's so beautiful, and the children playing in the woods and the mud, and I loved it, and about childhood friendships and little squabbles. Stunning book. Question number 5. In episode 1, No Birds Sing, Laura leaves her husband who is cheating on her and then starts this new life with Rosemary where they become travelling gardeners. Name a book that is to do with an affair or has an affair in it. I had so many books. I looked at my shelves and thought, oh no, why have I got so many books about affairs? I have no idea. My favourite book about affair is Damaged, but I feel like I spoke about this so much. Damaged, Josephine Hart. This is about a man who has an affair with his son's fiance, and she's got a very damaged life. Something's happened to her, and it's just stunningly written, stunning book, and he becomes obsessed with her and really addicted to her and needs her all the time. And it's about like damaged people, they can survive anything, and she'll survive everything, but will everyone else in the story? Who knows? Stunning, absolutely adore and love it. And then I thought I'd choose another one because I speak about Damage so much on the channel because I love the book. So The Graduate by Charles Webb, which was turned into a famous film with Dustin Hoffman, but this is about a boy who he starts an affair with Mrs. Robinson, who is his friend's mum. So it's friends of the family basically is who she is, and she's a much older woman, and I loved it. I loved and adored this, and they have this affair, and then he falls in love with her daughter, and it goes into that, and then she's very vengeful about it. Stunning book. I need to stop saying stunning for every book, but every book I've put in this video, I absolutely adore every book. But this is, it's got humour within it, it's shocking elements within it as well. Love this book. Question number 6. In the episode They Understand Me in Paris, they go to France to do a garden. Name a book by a French author, or if you don't have a French author, a book that is set in France. I have Colette, the French author Colette, and her novella Gigi, which is about a girl who lives a very sheltered life. She lives with her mother and her grandmother, and then this man who's a family friend who's much older, they want her to marry him, basically, and she has to kind of grow up and marry him. And Gigi is this very defiant girl, and it's just beautifully written, and I absolutely love it. Stunning. It's great. Could highly recommend. Question number 7. In the series, the two women get a new lease on life, because in the first episode, Rosemary loses her job with the university and Laura leaves her husband, who is cheating on her, and they meet each other by complete chance and form this gardening duo, and you feel like they've got a new lease on life, a new adventure ahead of them. Name a book in which a character gets a new lease on life, and I have chosen Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day by Winifred Watson. This is about a woman who's very normal, very plain, never had an exciting life, never fallen in love, but always dreamt of having those things, but always been very sensible. She then meets a woman who is her complete opposite, who her love life is in shambles. She's dating different men, she's going out to clubs, she's incredibly beautiful and glamorous, and just lives for the day, doesn't have much planning going on. And there is a mix-up and a misunderstanding, and Miss Pettigrew ends up working with her for the day, but ends up having the day of her life, which is filled with adventure and love and beauty, and this day changes her life, and everything she's ever wanted in life happens in this day, because this woman who is selfish and compulsive does this every day, so she doesn't appreciate what she's got or the life. And Miss Pettigrew is just in awe of this glamorous, beautiful day. It changes her life, and I loved it. And I loved Miss Pettigrew, that she just kind of does everything right, and then this one day she's allowed to actually live the life that she wants to live. Oh, this book just holds such a place in my heart. It's such a beautiful book. You need to read it if you haven't read it, because it's just... oh, it just makes you feel so like happy and warm inside, and that there's justice in the world because she gets her day. I adore it. Question number 8. In episode 6 and 16, they have something to do with church gardens, religious buildings, gardens. So name a book that has religion mentioned within it, or someone who is religious within the book. So I chose The Virgin Blue by Tracy Chevalier, obviously by the name The Virgin Blue. It's to do with Mary, Jesus' mother, the Virgin Mary, and it's set in two different timelines. So one is modern day, and it's about a woman trying to fit into this French town, and it's very close knit, and she doesn't feel like she can fit into it. And then it goes back in time to a woman who lived in the same area, and the woman who lived in the same area has a very desperate life. She's living in poverty, her husband isn't very nice, and she has this obsession with the Virgin Mary, and when she goes to church, all she thinks about is the Virgin Mary. And then on the back of this stall, she finds this blue material, and it reminds her of the material that Mary would have worn round her when she gave birth to Jesus. And so she just thinks about Mary all the time, and it's going through her life and what's happening to her. And then at the same time, the woman who is living in this town trying to fit in is finding out about her. Stunning book. Absolutely. It's historical fiction. It's gorgeous. Anything by Tracy Chevalier though. I think this is my 5th Tracy Chevalier. I've read Girl with a Pearl Earring, Fallen Angels, Remarkable Creatures, Lady and the Unicorn, and this one. Anything by Tracy Chevalier, read it. You're not going to regret it. Also, Jodie Picoult, great. Like, anything by both of them, read it. Question 9. In the episode 3 Legs Good, they get to garden the famous park in London, which is Regents Park. So name a book that is set in London, one book that is historical London, and one day that is modern day London. I don't have a lot of modern day London at all. It was all historical London, so I have 2 picks for that. I have Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I thought I had to choose a Charles Dickens because how Charles Dickens, pictures England in such detail, I felt I should choose this. This is about an orphan boy called Pip, and he meets a girl called Estelle, and this lady who wears a wedding gown and is just decaying. She was at the altar no one turned up, so then she just stayed in the wedding gown and everything around her is decaying, and he has to go and visit this woman, and it's about all his different adventures. Absolutely love and adore it. I then have Diary of a Nobody, which was serialized in a newspaper. This is the Folio Society edition. It's really nice, and it's just diary entries of this man who's really complains about everything in life, who's really miserable and lives in London. So it depicts London so beautifully, and the pictures of London within it are really stunning. You can see the front here, the tall townhouse buildings are absolutely gorgeous. So I thought that was good depictions of London, and I did enjoy this. It's an interesting book to kind of pick up and put down and read how it was intended, because it was serialized in a newspaper every week. If you read it like that, pick it up, put it down, because stories don't really flow one to the other. They're like a series of short stories from his life. Love it. I then have The People at Number 9. I have a full video review of this on my channel, and it's by Felicity Everett, and it is set in London, and it's about two couples, and one of the couples starts to really envy the other couple and want their life, and I won't spoil anything else, but it's a really great book. In the last episode, which is called Enter Two Gardeners, Laura gets involved with a play that is being put on. So name a book that has something to do with performance or a performer, or if you don't have that, name your favourite play. So I don't have any books about performers or dancers or a play, nothing like that. So I thought I would just say my favourite play, which is Pygmalion by Bernard Shaw. It was turned into a musical, which is called My Fair Lady, which was turned into a film with Audrey Hepburn, My Fair Lady film. So you may know it from that, and it's stunning. It's about a flower girl who this professor has a bet with his friend that he can make this common flower girl into a lady, make her talk better, teach her practices of the upper class, and then pass her off at a grand ball as an upper class woman, and that no one would suspect that she actually had come from poverty and was a flower girl. So he moves this girl, Eliza Doolittle, into his house and then starts training her how to speak, and it's about their relationship between the two of them, and if he manages to succeed in doing that. There's a lovely man in it called Freddie who owns my heart, and he is an upper class man who falls in love with her, desperately in love with her, and he's a bit boring and a bit plain, and Higgins is like, oh, he's plain and boring, but he is so lovely. He's so nice and beautiful to her and just adores her. Oh, I could do with a full story just about what happened to her and Freddie. What happened? How many children did they have? I need to find out about her and Freddie, because I just love him. It's one of my favourite characters in literature of all time. Oh, I just love him. It's so sweet. Anyway, Pygmalion, it's not really about her and Freddie, but I just love that element of it. It's about her and the Professor Higgins and their relationship between the two of them, and he's a miserable old man and she's just very strong, independent, and it's about can they learn to live with each other is really what the story is about. Absolutely love and adore it. And that is it. That is the end of my Rosemary and Thyme tag. I am so glad that I finally got round to doing this. Do you like how I also put my cactus in the back? Look at me, gardener. So I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to tag whoever wants to do it, whoever has watched the Rosemary and Thyme series. Even if you haven't watched the Rosemary and Thyme series, if you think these questions are interesting and you want to do it, then go ahead. Go and sow your seeds, which are your videos, which grow from this tag. Go forth into the world of gardening. No, go forth into doing a book tag. Nothing to do with gardening. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. Tell me if you like the series. Tell me what your favourite episode is. I love Tree of Death. I just love it. I love the archery element of Tree of Death, because someone is killed by an arrow that has been shot from a bow and arrow, and I'm like, what are the chances though that would happen in England? I'm going to end it here, and tell me if you do the tag. Please let me know, and I will see you again soon for another video.
Dun, 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 dun.